Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Thursday already. We're already halfway through the very first week of the return of What's Map. And today's map was one that caught my eye for being one that had potential for insane gameplay ability. It's all about playability, you know. Now, the one thing that concerned me a little bit was there are a few things about the the workshop description that says it might be a newer creator, and newer creators tend to need a little bit of time to bed in and work out how best to optimize their maps. But I feel that having glanced at the screenshots, it might be optimized enough, and daily reminders of that too. That's right, being fully optimised by daily reminders is a really good way of supporting the channel. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. Right, today's map is Semip Map, no DLC required, couple mod tress, all other vanilla by Venom. Couple of mods of trees and all other things are vanilla by Venom, in other words, I feel. There's your start square. We'll have more of a look at that in a moment. A little bit odd in one respect, that is. The height map looks like such, mostly flat buildable land over there on that peninsula, and then we have resources, which is, well, mostly fertile in the centre of the map, but if you've got the 81 tile mod, you can get out to the ore and the oil. If you have the Sunset Harbour DLC, you can do some fishing, and your fishing looks like this. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a no DLC map. It does actually say it in the title. There are a few requirements, but there isn't a link to them. There isn't a one-click collection. So I loaded up the map, and these were the items that were missing instantly for me. And so, anyway, I used the links off the loading screen mod to take me straight into the map. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Edge of the map looks like this. Something a little bit unusual here as well. Not necessarily bad, but unusual. We immediately go to elevated at ground level. Elevated at ground level is a design choice, I feel, and if it's consistent across the map, I think we can let it go. Not something I particularly like, because in real life it would be a very expensive way of doing things, but it does actually make it quite easy in terms of gameplay to elevate and drop if you need to do some little tweaks to it yourself and want to get a bit of a bridge going somewhere. Speaking of bridges, it's an intersection, our very first intersection. It's the plopped wishbone. You'll notice though that those elevated roads do go down to ground level because of the intersection, and I would like to have seen that all of those roads stay elevated just for consistency. Got some desert going on down here as well. It's either that or a bloody big beach. I think it's desert though. Anyway, we'll follow the highways along. Yeah, today we'll be using the Starburg theme, and although there is a Starburg LUT, because it didn't suggest the Starburg LUT to me, I'm gonna stay consistent with the realistic 1.2 LUT, second intersection there as well, again, which drops to ground level. So it's all about consistency. I will stick with the 1.2 unless told otherwise or hinted otherwise in the description, but there isn't any. The only hint was, of course, that the theme has a matching LUT. So it was a little bit of I gave it some thought, and I decided to go away and stick with the standard. We're going elevated now into the forest, and mostly I quite like this. Quite like it. Good work. We do have a little bit of a dip in the highway up here, which it's just a little bit of a drop, just a little bit of a drop, but it's fine. We can let that go. So yes, so I've reloaded the map anyway with all the missing items, but I will take all these missing potential missing things into consideration when rating the map at the end of the show. So don't worry about it, but you are seeing the map as fully complete. There's your first major intersection, and the start square is down here on this side of the river. So what we're going to do is we're just going to follow the highway down to the start square. So down here, and we are vanilla, so we don't have any two-lane slip roads or anything. So 3 roads into 6, and that goes off towards the edge of the map over there. Nips under the highways here, and then 6 roads into 3, and then 6 roads into 3 again. I think we have to hang on, how do we get down there? Oh, well, apparently we can't. It stays elevated, though, very nicely elevated across to the bridge. That could have dropped down to ground level elevation, but no, that was very neatly done. And then our second intersection here with a lot of the park life rocks, which actually I don't mind in this environment. It's just a little bit of a fun bit of detailing. I don't feel distracted from the map at all. And again, now staying elevated here. Now properly elevated, actually. So this is a hint. This is going to be a major city area that you want to run your roads under. And here's a potential start location, not the start square. But if you have a little look at this, this is going to handle quite a bit of traffic. Your main traffic is going to continue elevated across the highway. And then we've got this 6 lanes. 6 lanes, eh? Wow. Elevated underneath the rail as well, very clean and tidy. Comes down to ground level for building purposes. So again, that's very cleanly done. Nice intersection going on here, where we're going to get a good bit of traffic flow. It should be good traffic flow for the city. Should be good for gameplay as well. And again, a potential start location here. Similar sort of thing down at ground level. And then we're going up onto the big old bridge to finally cross the river to get to the start square. Now this bridge, I was a bit concerned about at first glance. I thought, hang on, that's not right. Look at that big gap in the middle and then the narrow gap next to it. It's a big gap there. But if you look at that, that mirrors that. And then that kind of mirrors that. And then that kind of mirrors that. Although one is on the riverbank and one is actually in the water. But it's actually an evenly balanced bridge. And I quite like it. I don't love it. But there's credit. There is credit to be given for it. Anyway, now heading down in towards Start Square territory, underneath the rail again, which is very cleanly done again. There's a lot of cleanness about this. Start Square is right here. There should be an asset in there somewhere. But I do need, before we find that asset, show you this highway. Look at the distance between these two roads. That is standard. If you want to plop a standard intersection down on top of that, let's find ourselves that wishbone. There it is. It fits perfectly. Which is very nice to see. No tweaking to do, just delete the bits of highway you don't want, plop in your intersection, you can get going. But it would have been nice to have seen a standard intersection in place to get started, considering there are intersections elsewhere on the map. Anyway, I found that asset is over here. It's the Tour du Midi-Zuidtoren, by Shibuya. And this is a building, I believe, in Belgium. Don't seem to find a front door on it. I don't know how people are going to get in and out, maybe through a window. But other than that, I think for a skyline building, it's going to look fine. Do you need a front door? Be a burglar. Okay, factoids because factoids. Chop suey is not a native Chinese dish. It was invented by Chinese immigrants in California. Funny enough, I had chop suey last night, and I've still got some left in the bowl for today, so I think we'll be throwing that in the microwave a little bit later on. Anyway, Tour du Midi-Zuidtoren. I hope that's somewhere about right. Sorry if you're in Belgium and I'm completely butchering your beautiful, beautiful language. Anyway, by Shibuya. That is today's asset of the day, and very lovely it is too. As we go back around onto the highways. Now, we're going to go... We haven't been down this way. Well, this is the way we came in. But we need to go a little bit further down here. Because, you know these start square... potential start squares. Not start... Potential start locations even. Like this one here. Well, this one's got a minor flaw. Not a big flaw, but I do need to point it out. This little bit here... It's one way. It's a one-way loop. That's broken. Of course, it's easily fixed with one click of the right mouse button, but it's one way against up until that point there. So yes, one click of the right mouse button with the correct highway section selected, and that will be fixed. But yeah, I have to point these things out because otherwise it's unfair that I pulled somebody else up on it and I didn't pull this creator up on it. But yeah, not a big problem. The rail, it's mostly properly elevated, not elevated at ground level. But let me show you this. It stays elevated. Look how smooth this is. It stays level. And we get a cutting. Yes, an elevated rail at ground level cutting. But a cutting. So yeah, a cutting, which, well, on many a lesser creator, they would have draped it over the hill and just followed the curvature of the terrain. Now, we're following the curvature away from the highway here. and it just follows a sensible route here as it bends back around because it wants to get back and join up with the main line over here. Again, a good sized junction there, which should allow for good train movement also. And then that will then come across to the big old bridge. Now, a minor problem with this one. It could be a little bit more elevated, I feel, because, well, that cruiser has just clipped right through the rail bridge. And if you have a little look at the vanilla freighters, they will just clip it with the antenna on the back of the boat right there. So a little bit of shipping clipping going on there. It's not the world's worst problem, but it is just a minor bit too low. The rail then bends off this way, and then we can bend off to the right. We're going to come this way because we've not been down this way. And there is a little feature area that I think you're going to enjoy. Or hate. One or the other. I don't think it's going to be any middle ground. Now, if you are in the middle ground, then maybe you should join the other people in the middle ground over on patreon.com. There's a real nice community over there. I'd love to see you over there, where you can help to support the channel and keep this show going. Thank you very much for any support that you can give. Okay, the rail is now, again, following a sensible route, avoiding the mountain, not going over the mountain. Thank goodness for that. And this is going to take us around to the harbour area. Now, it's a pre-cut harbour area. Some of you won't like this at all. I think they've gone a little bit overboard with the pre-built infrastructure over here. We've got a lot of rail and a lot of roads. It has been very nicely done what is down there, including these little assets here that I had to subscribe to, which weren't on the already subscribed to list on my little workshop collections. But again, it's been very neatly done. And also, we have everybody's favourite factory. As we return to Semip Map, no DLC required, couple mod tress, all other vanilla by Venom, and the shipping routes. Well, we've got the shipping route, and it does have the beginner mistake, the very beginner mistake of the sharp turn. Any shipping needing to go straight off the edge of the map there will have to do a very acute turning indeed. Follows up here, then we've got a slightly too low rail bridge there, and potential pillar clipping as we go underneath that bridge there. And then the main bridge, which you've already seen, again, the rail is just a smidgen too low. But other than that, I think we're probably, or maybe some pillar clipping there as well. Maybe. Coming back the other way. Anyway, the shipping then carries on. This isn't the rail, the underwater rail. Then we got a potential sharp turning there again for any shipping that comes in the map and then wants to go directly off this exit point over here. Right, okay, what's the water flow like? For those that want water flow in the start square, it's a little bit, it might be okay. This is your only water spawn point up here. The rest of it is edge of map water flow, which means in the middle of the map there should be a nullish point. So the water flows in this way, and the water will be flowing in from the opposite direction too. There's your arrow showing you. So somewhere in the middle here will be a null point. So you might have a pollution issue if you need to pump and draw from there. Okay, what have we got in the way of the map as a whole? I kind of like it, and I really actually like the hills. Not my favourite hills of all time, but I do really like them. I think the Starburg theme works really very nicely. We've got a good mix of trees. The rock detailing is okay as well. I don't hate it, far from hate it actually, and it's just it's a vibe that. It's fairly unique to this map. I don't think we've seen many other maps with this exact style of hill and that exact aestheticness. We've also got a really weird thing here. Is this a land shark? Is that a land shark? I don't know, but I kind of like that as well. Okay. We've also got a little castle over here. Ooh, it's a castle. I don't have a big problem with this particular castle. And it's kind of like a mix between the medieval and the modern as well. These gun embankments here, if you look, they do manage to avoid pointing directly at the tower. So credit for that one. Oh, it's the Essential Lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? And we've got the jetty, which of course isn't very well clipped into the landscape. That's fairly normal, and so a bit of a minus score for your detailing on that one. And then if we come over here, you'll see we've got all of this build area in the middle of the map, which is very lovely indeed. We've got a lot of drowned trees. An awful lot of drowned trees. Way too many drowned trees, I'm afraid, along here. Some of them completely submerged there. And then if we have a look here, we've got some little marina areas as well, which is, these are quite nicely done. These are quite nicely done. Well, the question is, do you think the whole map is nicely done? Your chance to vote now. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Click the I button now and take you across to the voting page where you can place your vote for free. Right, what do I think of this map? Well, aesthetically, I think it's okay. It's borderline 4 stars, but we have got a whole bunch of things on the workshop that need subscribing to which haven't been linked to, which means that they probably will be missing for you. So while I think it's borderline 4 stars, the best I can really give it is a low 3, a really low 3, because it might even be a 2-star map minus all those assets. But I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and I'll give it a low 3. Detailing, on the whole, there's a lot of goodness going on here. We've got a lot of drowned trees though, which brings it down to at best a high 3. I'm going to give it a medium high 3 for detail. And I'm going to mirror that for gameplay potential, a medium high 3 again. Could have scored 4 stars, but I feel the lack of that start square intersection is a bit baffling when you've got all the other potential start squares already laid down. So I've got to go, yeah, high 3 for that one. Semip Map, all the other bits of information by Venom. That is not half bad. Not half bad at all. Plenty of good going on in it, and a few of you are going to like it. I always say that because it's always true. A few of you are going to like it, and I'm pretty sure a few of you will be playing it as well. Anyway, if you are still here, you are in the 20 and out elite. Use the word of the day, which is there. Nice and short one, easy to use for your 100 population points. Keep your own scores and don't talk about where you got your population points from in the comments because it's our little secret society. I've been BonBonB, you've been very, very welcome, and I'll see you again tomorrow.